Hello, I'm going to do my second video now, all about ADD, ADHD, Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, and tell you all about the people that I know. I told them one thing: I lived in Los Angeles, I've lived in New York. 14 years old I was, packed a suitcase, 200 quid, went to New York on my own, still in school. That's how it started. When I was 20 I went to move over to Los Angeles, stayed there for a few years. I had a green card, social security number, I had the B12 visa, the J1 visa, worked with the Camp America, so I had it all. I've worked and done it all in America. When I moved to London, I was on Dexedrine, but that's another thing. I worked at the London Astoria. That's where I got to know all the famous people that I used to know. From Kylie, and you name it, all with it. The Pet Shop Boys, Madonna, I know them all, I've met them all. I've spoke to them, I had the numbers, I used to chat to them. Some of my good mates were Jimmy Somerville, who had, when I was first put on Dexedrine, Jimmy Somerville was alright, he was a good lad. Madonna, who I spoke to on YouTube, she sent me stuff for ADHD. Him that does the Tipping Point, Good Morning Britain, nice shirt, they used to know me on Twitter, nice shirt and a suit he used to wear. I never met Michael Jackson, I never spoke to him. I've never met Oprah Winfrey, but I remember when I was in Los Angeles, she done that live interview with him. So I'd like to speak to Oprah Winfrey. She's got her own cable company and everything in America. Music over here in the United Kingdom, music box before MTV. What MTV have done, I don't want to talk about it. God, it's a nightmare. Right, ADHD and ADD. All these people that use drugs in the clubs. Do you remember in the toilets used to sell speed in all the clubs, or cocaine, and ecstasy with it? Do you remember ecstasy with it? And acid, microdots. It was a nightmare, and I got caught up in all that. I was around taking so many drugs all the time, and I was having a good time, but it's not the best time, because the next day you feel miserable, you feel down. LSD, I don't like LSD. The Beatles have got more to tell you about LSD. Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. Speak to Paul McCartney about it, not me. I've had it, I've tried it in microdots. Does anyone remember the Club Trade? When all the water was turned off, where all the people taking ecstasy were so hot and exhausted, and they turned the water off at the club and everybody passed out. That's how the clubs work. I remember Jeremy Joseph. I used to know Jeremy Joseph from all the people he used to hang about with. Terry, my best mate for many years, we moved to Manchester with me and all. And I knew everything. I knew Princess Diana many years ago in 1989. LA Fitness, the gym she went to with me. I went every day and worked out with her. She was on the front of the newspaper then, on the front of the Middlesex, in Old Isleworth, where it was, in Middlesex there, Old Isleworth, where I met Diana. And she was in the newspapers and they done the same thing to her. So you never win really. We someone like Diana, because she was cool. All my other friends, I go to London with the dog. I've got the best dog in the world, a black Labrador Retriever called Ziggy. I live in Altrincham, Cheshire, which is Manchester, Greater Manchester in England. You should check me out on YouTube. Steve Quinn, Manchester Dexedrine, Dexedrine, 175 milligrams a day I was on, 31 pills. Now I'm stuck on speed taking it for ADHD, but I haven't got attention deficit hyperactivity disorder because of hyperactivity. Whether I take speed or not, I don't sit shaking and I'm a bit nervous. I'm alright, I'm okay. So I've got ADD, attention deficit disorder. Now if I could get a psychiatrist tomorrow to prescribe Dexedrine for me, even as an adult, where no licence is available in the NHS in the UK, because that's how it works, I'd be okay, because a psychologist with him had worked with me to build myself up. That's the only thing on earth I would do to get myself right. It's the only thing. Depression, feeling down, confused, mixed up, not being able to concentrate, not being able to do the right thing or talking to the right people. I feel wrong all the time, I feel depressed. I tried to commit suicide 7 months ago. I jumped off a bridge almost, I almost fell over, climbed over the bridge down onto a motorway. Luckily the public found me and I jumped off, and never jumped off, I almost jumped off, but I was in hospital for a few days, Windsor Hospital in Manchester. So any more about music, Kylie Minogue, I spoke to Danny Minogue, I only sent her an email about a month ago on Twitter. She sent me an email and we chatted. She's got her own world, she's got her own family in Australia. She's done some good music, Danny Minogue, Who Do I Love Now and all that. I'd love to do a new track with ABBA. If ABBA done a track now, and I could only tell them, if I got one track they could only do, which were words, it's their own music, but if I could do a verse about ADHD and the words to go with it, and all drugs around it, please don't take heroin. Don't, my friend's gone and methadone it. I've never touched it. I've never touched cocaine. I'm not a drinker. I don't drink at all. I don't smoke weed or anything with it. Just be careful. Anything of the next generation, any age. All drugs. Don't touch heroin, please. It's a nightmare. Don't be on a killer drug like heroin. Weed, that's your own thing. Smoke it, paranoid. Being on edge, all drugs have got side effects with it. I'm not a copper to put a uniform on and say the score from A, B or C drugs. A and B drugs are dangerous drugs. The police have got to deal with it. C drugs are prescribed by the doctors. I'm not in the 1980s or the 70s or even the 80s anymore, where it was Dexter's Midnight Runners. I'm not on Dead or Alive, You Spin Me Round with Speed. And I'm not on Marilyn Monroe back in the days with a barbiturate, where the two drugs together, one down and one up in the same pill, and a prescription. I'm nothing like that at all to be feeling, I don't know, death with it, because I don't want to die, but the only thing is so many drugs with barbiturates and stuff. I don't know, all the people like Brian Epstein and the Beatles, and that was Purple Hearts, amphetamine and downers. So you've got to be careful with A or B drugs, prescription or not. You've got to be very careful, especially with street drugs, but heroin, stay away. So, I smoke, I have a cigarette, the odd cigarette every day, I'm alright, I have a cigarette, I don't mind. I don't like smoking 20 a day, but it's a bit, I don't have much money to buy much. I don't have any money because the cigarettes, £10 a pack. You can't buy a packet of 10 anymore, and it's got the bloody warnings all over it. So